Looks like it's here. So welcome. This is our class number 3 of the Manifestation course. And today we're following the steps, and we're going to be on step 3, which is about bringing your dreams into goals, setting goals, and we'll be looking at that in relation also to the Soul's Garden. I think that the Soul's Garden is a really interesting addition to that idea of goal setting. And it's interesting when you think about it, having done this kind of, coaching and healing for so many years, it's very rare for people to set goals. And yet it's been proven that it is a very important factor if you want to realize your dreams. And of course, many people don't even dream. They don't dare to dream, or they don't know how to maybe dream from the heart, which is another thing, is how do you find the things that are really you, to follow that path that represents who you truly are, rather than just something that somebody told you should be or should do. So that's what we're going to do. And we're going to also then talk a little bit about coaching wheels. There's the, if you might have seen it, the Wheel of Life, which is a very common coaching technique, using the Wheel of Life. So we'll go into that and we're going to do the reframing and anchoring too, which we haven't done in this course. So some of you may not know how to do that. It's a healing process. We invented it, sort of, or maybe created it from tools drawn from NLP. So that's where reframing and anchoring are NLP terms. So we'll be doing that for a little healing, and so we have a full class. So welcome, Maggie and Terry, and I guess everybody else was here. Mm-hmm. Any questions for now before we start? Any burning questions? Maggie went sideways.
No, I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I know. I'm sorry, I'm driving, and so I will be at my location soon, but okay. I'll be on and listening the whole time, but I'll be off camera. Okay,
it's just funny.
You. I know.
Also, before I forget, next week you're off. We have weeks off, 1 week off every month. And it's a great time to catch up if you're behind, and also to explore goal setting. So you can do it, and we'll be talking about doing that in relation to the Soul's Garden. And if you feel like connecting with each other and discussing and dreaming together, that's another fun thing to do. So that's an opportunity. I wanted to also share, while I was sitting here a few minutes ago, I drew a card that, with the intention of having something that would be for our highest good in relation to goal setting. And this is the card that I got. It's called Sanctuary, and I think it's so beautiful. In fact, I drew this card this morning for my own kind of reading and healing process that I did. And I found it so beautiful, looking at also the doves that are flying up into the light there. Just really beautiful.
I pulled the same card this morning.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Isn't it beautiful, though? Mm-hmm. I loved it. So I'm just going to read about it, because I think it is really something that resonates with what we're doing now. Go within and find your inner refuge. Be a safe haven for yourself and others. Step forward with grace, deliberation, and thoughtfulness. Take moments for reflection. Your soul wants you to know it's in times of retreat.
You're on the fastest route despite some traffic. You should reach your destination by...
Sorry, I'm going to mute. Sorry.
Yes, please mute yourselves when you're not sharing. We don't need to hear about the traffic.
I'm sorry.
It's in times of retreat and inner sanctuary that you can truly hear the voice of your soul. Create a place of beauty in your home that feels sacred and holy, and spend time there or in nature, carefully, or both. Carefully listening to your inner voice. If you've been pushing too hard or struggling to keep going, this is the time to be still and nurture your intent in your inner world. Draw nourishment from the wellspring inside you. Think carefully about decisions you make at this time and proceed with care and deliberation. Retreat. Reflect on your heart's true desires and access your divine guidance. Beautiful. So I can take a few breaths focusing on being in that inner sanctuary together. Just breathing and bringing our energy together. I often do, I see angels, angels up above us, supporting us. And with that, we're ready to begin. So we've gone through, this is step 3. The first one was setting our course. We did that. And then we connected in step 2 with the heart, accessing the heart as our source of truth. And now we're in step 3, which is connecting with your heartfelt dreams. And we've developed systems for this over the years that we have found to be valuable. It's in Manifesting Your Dreams in chapter 3. And we have a few things that I want to go over, starting with something we call ground rules. And this is something we thought of years ago when we were setting goals, and we kept writing, like, to do this, for my highest good, and to do this, and repeating the same things over and over. And it occurred to us that having something like ground rules, having a general intention for the way your reality works for you, makes it clearer and easier to then add details to it without feeling like you have to add a lot of verbiage about how it is that that's going to happen, if that makes sense. And we have an example here that I thought we can go over it. And before we do, there is one thing I also thought might be really helpful when it comes to goal setting, and that's inviting that that childlike wonder, to be in that place of childlike wonder, and maybe connect with the inner child, what we call the magical child, which is the inner child that's not wounded or that has transcended wounds. I see it more like that source of us that never was wounded. That part isn't really what matters, but what matters is that it is the magical child you could perceive as actually being a guide for you, because that is a part of you that is whole and that has that joy of life and all of the things that we want to have moving forward. Is that a term that is difficult for anyone to understand, or does that make perfect sense?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect sense. We do have and we'll be doing inner child communication and all those things in this course later on. And I wrote down somewhere here in section 12 of the manual, on page 12, we actually discuss the magical child. And I think we have a process where you go over the rainbow and meet with your magical child, which is really fun. Of course, you can do that and just bring your magical child with you to your soul's garden and have just have a meeting. I call mine Magic Jane. So you might have a name for you. I mean, pretty obvious, but but she's okay with it. So any questions about that? The value of having that, bringing that childlike wonder, however that works for you? Okay. Okay, so looking at ground rules then, and if you imagine with that childlike wonder what you might perceive as what you would want to be the basis of your creations. It's interesting. I don't know if we've talked about Wallace Wattles in this course yet, but Wallace Wattles was a New Thought kind of a person in the 1900s and wrote a couple books that were very well known right around 1910, I think. One of them is called The Science of Being Great, and the other one's called The Science of Being or Getting Rich. And both of them are approaching the topic from a very spiritual place. But I think one of the things that I really appreciate about it is he makes a distinction between two realities, and we sometimes call it the tale of two realities. The first one being where most people are in the world on what we might call the competitive plane, and that's the place we also call it unfriendly world, which is the world that feels dangerous and where everything feels like it's going against you, and so it's fearful and people are angry and they feel separate from one another, and all of those competitive things are at play. And then as we move up the scale really into the higher dimensions and we can live, we don't have to live in the competitive plane, as I'm sure I know you know, just because that's where most people are. In fact, we're I think way showers. So what we want to live on is what Wallace Wattles calls the creative plane. And he describes that in his books. I think we have some, but they might actually be in your resource section. They probably are. At least The Science of Being Great. They might both be there. Anyhow, if you haven't read them, they're really great books, and it frames you as a person who has greatness because we're all one with the same source, right? So we're all sparks or aspects of the creator, and the creator resides in us, in our hearts. So so we can create from our hearts. Anyhow, if you look at your ground rules from the plane that you want to be in, I assume I assume it's the creative plane, then that might make it easier. Like, and this one actually we wrote, I was thinking of revisiting it. I'm actually going kind of away for a little retreat next week, and I think I might simplify it. But I just the general, I think, idea of it makes sense to me. Like it starts with in my intentions in how creation works. Love is my guiding force, and I welcome each day with gratitude for the blessings that are coming my way. So on this, the second one, it's like this is the way things happen. I'm synchronously in the right place at the right time to live fully and realize my purpose with joy and ease. 3, people around me are consistently friendly, helpful, and supportive. Number 4, all my needs are met easily and effortlessly. So, and it goes on from there. So there are 3 categories. It's like how do things happen? They happen easily. They're in the flow. All of those words that you would want to use so that every goal is being done in this way. And then what are my expectations in the realizations of my goals? I expect the following. My goals manifest in the flow with my purpose and for the good of all concerned. The manifestation of my dreams synchronously affects the people, places, and situations around me in miraculously positive ways. I attain my goals with the greatest possible ease and effortlessness. So things along those lines. And of course, I really think it's worth writing all of those things out from your perspective, and maybe along in conjunction with your your magical child. When challenges arise, that's the third one. I deal with them effectively, knowing they help me to learn and grow. I'm resilient and recover quickly and easily. I clear blockages promptly so I can move forward, so I can move more freely forward. I readily seek help when needed, etc. So any thoughts on that and on the value of it? Any questions, any comments?
It's to
Yes,
me,
Marcia.
it's sort of like a mission and vision statement. It's like, this is my focus. And
well, this is my reality. Right? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And it just, I think it's helpful to frame things like, this is the way things happen in my world, regardless of what other people say about how things should happen. This is the way they happen for me. And it would be actually what you would really want. Because if another way of looking at it, like in, I guess, more conventional coaching circles, they would say life is a game and you're making up the rules. Right? Things happen in the ways that we expect them to happen. Like if you think things are going to be difficult, they probably will be, right? And it just is. I think I am going to look at this again. Although I think it's, now that I'm looking at it, I think it's pretty good. Anyhow, any thoughts before I move on from there? Yes, Pamela. Hi.
So, I was looking at those actually earlier today and trying to come up with my own. And I like what you said about this soul garden, bringing your inner child in there. I think it sounds like to me I want to do a soul garden, bringing my child in and to help me with the ground rules. I think that, sounds like something I'm excited to explore, my inner child.
Yeah, it sounds like
ground
fun.
rules. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, good. So I was trying, there's Maggie. Maggie, did you want to ask something or say something?
Yeah, I just wanted to, I guess, put this out there and hear feedback but I think there's a reality that there are some times where people just thinking that everything will be better or manifesting things will happen. It sometimes is just not, it won't resonate with some people, especially those who really are going through a very, very hard time. And I think that one of the ways, I mean, I'm a therapist, so I deal with severe traumas, and that's one of my areas of expertise. And there's realities of finances that can make things very challenging for people of, how do you say everything's going to be okay, and I'll manifest this when you can't pay, your light bill or your water bill today, right? And so
Right.
what I try to do for myself and with others is to look at sometimes the manifestations of things that we need to happen may not happen right away or even in the way that we specifically look for, more but there's a reality that we hopefully can expect, in that we can conjure up or we can bring about things by feeling more empowered to handle and navigate through the challenging situations, and also create solutions and opportunities to help us during very challenging times. So I think, because I'll hear all the time, from clients who are going through very hard times that, I don't believe in this manifesting BS. This doesn't really work. And
Are you there? I think you might have faded out somehow. Well, one thing I wanted to say about this is just in general.
pivoting and looking
back.
What's
You were
that?
gone. You were gone for a while there.
Oh no. Oh well, I said so much, but I'll just sum it up in that saying that I think sometimes if people or we are having a hard time in manifesting or believing that the manifesting can happen right away or when we need it, at the very least, um, doing work that will empower us to navigate through and to create ways to manage through the times and create new opportunities and things because yeah, I mean, I just work with a lot of clients, and I also go through my own stuff where sometimes it's hard to get to that mental and emotional and energetic space immediately.
Right, right. And I think that what I was going to say when you were disappearing a little bit is generally everything that we're teaching is designed really for people who are moving forward spiritually,
Yeah.
and also not for people who have serious psychological problems. But I would say in relation to that, and for anybody, if a hugely rosy picture doesn't feel right, just find what is the picture that moves you up a step from where you are now. Like I
Right.
could feel more peaceful, and as you were saying, I could feel like I have more power than I thought I did, and find little ways that you um, might be able to see that. And even I think it's really valuable just to state scientific facts that if you are experiencing stress and chronic stress, that it is debilitating, to realize that it's very helpful for you. Just anybody, not somebody who's even spiritually oriented. It's very helpful for you to find ways to feel more peaceful,
Right.
because it's just good for your body. It's good for everything. So anyway, that if you are working with people, and when you're having hard times, I occasionally mention times when I'll be complaining about something, and Philip say, well, why don't you do some tapping? And I'll say something like, well, that'll never work, and you're in that place.
Right.
Which is so silly. And then I'll do the tapping and I feel great. So it is funny. But anyhow, thank you I think that's an important point. And we have to go where people are. Also, at the same time, we're looking with all of these things, I'm looking at a pretty high kind of a high level of belief with the kinds of ground rules that I have. And that, it could be. People can create what would make your life a little better that you could believe in. So thank you. So Cynthia, did you want to share something?
Yes, I was just going to comment on, what you mentioned about establishing the ground rules. I think that's very important. I know just for myself, things go a lot better when I, have a foundation and a structure. And, I deal with a lot of clients, and a lot of my clients are on the lower echelon of, I would say, mental health, as well as
right.
Just stressful lives. And what I'm seeing a commonality is that for the most part, they have no structure. They just wake up and they're constantly reacting to life as opposed to being proactive. And
right. Yeah, and that's
then
the difference with not setting goals and setting goals.
exactly.
Even if they're with people like that, even if they're just very general, or being, helping them to move a little bit up from where they are.
Right. And just for myself to like how I reboot and just kind of get myself together, that's not really structured because, I just want my body to heal and to rejuvenate on its own. But when I'm actually trying to manifest some things, I think that's very important. So I like what you've stated as, that could be foundations for our structure.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, and it's exciting. It's fun. It's fun to have an kind of a sense that you are a creator, and
Exactly.
however a person can believe in that. One thing to say is, if you weren't a creator, how could you change anything? You might as well just give up right now.
Right. And I
Just
know
forget
just
the
for
whole
my
thing. It's all random. Nothing matters. Nothing means anything. And if you say that, then they might say, "Well, I'm not sure that that makes sense either." We might be able to find something in between there.
Mhm. And just when I'm like dealing with the clients and I, interact with social services on federal and state level for them, those who have less structure in their life, it's harder to get their benefits and things for them. Even
Hmm.
though they're eligible for it, they're always, some kind of glitch in the system,
Right.
and
Yeah.
they're very reactive. But for
Yeah.
those who are calm and who are, just accepting life and just, dealing with it on a calmer basis, it's easier for me to get things done for them.
Right.
And then me being an empath is less stress on my system,
Right.
just,
Yeah.
dealing with somebody who has structure versus somebody who doesn't. And,
Yeah.
so
Yeah. Yeah. So that's a good place to start at whatever level a person can maybe integrate that as a possibility and make some attempt, like you were saying, to have some structure, something that is guiding them through their lives. Um, Another thing I've noticed, and I well, maybe I'll just say it now because I might forget otherwise. Um, One of the things I started doing some years ago is, because I would find, and I think it's kind of what you were suggesting, Cynthia, is if I would just start my day and I would think, well, this needs to be done, this, and you have all of these things out there. I do generally have a kind of a long list of things and with a priority, but for my day, I decided I would have three things, and it could be a little more or less if you want, but usually it's three things that I want to accomplish. And I make it so easy. Whatever it is, just having those three things and making them easy. I might be done with them by noon, say. And what that does is and then I'm checking them off, and I'm feeling successful. It's like, oh, I did
Mhm.
it. And that's the thing, is creating in yourself a history of success. It's like, wow, I'm a success every day just by doing these three things that I set up for myself. And it does help to keep all of those extraneous things, like I wish I had time for this and had time for that, to keep it away from how you're conducting your day, because you can only address so many things in a day. But I think that's an important thing too, is to create in yourself a sense that you're going through your days in a successful way, and that really works for me. In fact, I kind of almost laugh at myself because I can make them so simple, and yet I feel like I've really accomplished a lot if I can do them, and then I'll be done early on and feel like, wow, I'm really a success. Anyhow, that's just kind of another thing related to goal setting, to bring it down into that daily level. Um, Before we go there completely, here's Buddy. I don't know if everybody knows Buddy. He's our boy. We have a boy and a girl, and this is Buddy. I don't know why he came up right now, but there he is. Good boy. So, the next thing that we go into is having we talk about 4 levels of goal setting, and this is like doing that big picture goal setting, which I think is worth doing occasionally, to the degree that you're unclear about what you want on the large scale. And this having 4 levels, like looking at what you want physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, that's one way of organizing. And I think another thing that would be really fun to do with that magical child in you just bringing the magic in, like what can I do in all of these areas that would bring more magic into my life, or whatever it is that you would like more of, which is another way to look at it. If you want more magic, more miracles, more peace, more harmony, it can be a combination of things, of course. So with that, you might then also have goals that are maybe bigger than you think you could possibly even accomplish in this life, which is fine. The next thing that we suggest is creating a focus list. So you take whatever that big dream is in the different areas of your life and determine 5 areas that you want to explore on. You might say a handful, it could be 4 or 5 or somewhere in that area. And they would be like, if you have a big dream, like I want to have a healing center and all of these things happening. Well, what's your next step? And that would be what you would put on the focus list. So it's like, oh, well, first I need more training. Like for those of you who are here, that you're receiving more training, or it might be I need to get out and meet more people. So whatever those things might be, could be items on your focus list. So here we have one for completing a website, might be one. Living in the flow, that's another one. Just a general one. Health, how your health is, what's happening with your prosperity. So this one has 4. And with each one, it's really important to understand why you want it. So this is where you go to the heart of your soul's garden and really connect with the truth in your heart. Like, why is it I want this? And is that valid? Because we want to make sure that we're following our hearts. Our hearts know where to take us. And then with that in mind, if you know why, then you would have kind of what your action plan is for that, and the image. So having an image, the image is, of course, the hologram. And we're talking a lot in this course about imagination, opening your imagination and really seeing your world, your world unfolding and developing. And this might be another thing that you would develop in your soul's garden. And there might be, I know Marcia was talking a little bit earlier about how she's discovering these different places in her soul's garden. And there can be places for these different things that you're wanting to create. So I would, and we'll be exploring that more, like when we're going into healing. Well, if I want to do healing, where in my garden would I need to go to get a better picture of what it really is that needs to be accomplished? So the image, that's the image part. Terry, did you want to share something?
Not share, but ask a question.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
This may be coming further down the pike. Just, I was going to ask if EFT might be used to clear a block or a belief system that we have. I have not been able to see past something. And so I just wrote down a few things that came to mind so that I could take that into a session. Because we're talking about manifesting, and if I can't see it or imagine it, that's already a wall.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's why.
So what would you suggest?
Beyond this, well, step 3, this is step 3, and step 4 and step 5 are all about clearing resistance. So
there you are.
So there's an assumption that resistance is going to come up because we're stretching ourselves, right? If we're setting goals and looking at possibilities that we may not have considered before, we're going to need to clear some blocks. So it's not what we're talking about today, but that will be coming up in the next course. And that's really, and what it makes me think of if your future is out before you, and whatever it is that you're wanting to create, you can't see it there. I mean, that's a really interesting image just to work with, like, okay, so how can I bring it into view? And that would be something to do healing on.
Actually, I think the belief goes deeper into trauma, and it's the first thing that came up was I'm afraid to ask.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. Whatever the healing is, obviously healing is an integral part of all of this,
Sure.
for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
And
So,
it starts with identifying what's happening.
okay. So how do I go about these assignments when the block is so prevalent and in my face?
Well, unfortunately, we can't really talk about everything in one class, and
Okay.
it's just not the topic that we're talking about today.
Oh,
I
thought
would,
we were
I
talking about
would.
manifesting.
What was that?
I thought we were talking about manifesting.
We're talking, right? We're talking about goal setting. The topic today is goal setting.
Okay.
And I mean, this is something we'll be talking about for a series of classes, just
Okay.
all about healing, but it's
Thank
not
you.
today. We will be
Okay.
doing a basic reframing and anchoring, but it's more really, I think, learning the process than going into those deeper places.
Thank you.
And whatever you can do, also with the tools that you have, until we get to that place, also that certainly
Makes
is
sense.
beneficial. And
Uh,
oh no, quiet. No. Sorry.
no, it's okay. Thank you.
Dog craziness.
I'm grateful that it showed up, bubbled up so blatantly, and I went, "Oh, thank you for showing me where I need to work." So thank
Mhm.
you.
Yeah, and one thing you can do is the process that we taught already with this soul coaching is what needs to be healed, and then how do you do it, and then actually do the healing with. We've done it with EFT, and we'll be showing the reframing and anchoring today. So that's a good starting place. Pamela, did you want to
I
share?
have I wanted to just say to Terry that getting a partner to do
To
practice with is a
practice?
really good idea, because if you partner with somebody, you can start with the EFT stuff and learn it with your partner and help clear stuff so you can move on. I think that would be a really good idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Some really wonderful opportunities here. Oriel, yes, hi.
Yeah, Terry, I just wanted to confirm, validate what Pamela was saying, that because just a few sessions that we've had with each other practice, we are definitely you have those little micro breakthroughs, and yeah, and you have to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it all starts actually with learning the techniques, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And something that we've seen over the years is, and part of the reason why it really is helpful to commit to a full year in the program is you never know when those big breakthroughs are going to come. You know, you can't say, well, it's going to be over here or over there, but we've had people healing all kinds of things, you know, spiritually, emotionally, physically, and the big breakthroughs just come when we're ready for them.
Yeah. Well,
Yes, go ahead.
I just
Ariel?
want to say that, sometimes they don't have to be big breakthroughs. I mean, it's
Oh,
the
right.
little ones can be so big.
Yeah, and they add up,
Yeah,
obviously.
it's like a cumulative effect. So it's just a step-by-step process, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and generally that probably is what it is. But for some, if someone comes to the program, like we've had people come who maybe were in an automobile accident and were having all kinds of pain and struggling just to get around, We've had people with, obviously, a lot of people with weight issues, with different diseases, just all kinds of things. You know, emotional, feeling very limited emotionally. And you don't know if you're looking like, I'd like to have this big breakthrough. I would, like, I think what you were suggesting, Oriel, I would aim for the small breakthroughs. And then you just don't know. All of a sudden, it's like things click for people. And one of our former students had fibromyalgia, and she was taking medication for it every day. And then it just, all of a sudden, she got it. It's like she got it.
Yeah.
She understood what it was about, and no more pain meds. So you just don't know. And I think the important thing is to keep, whatever your journey is, to keep going, just to keep moving forward. And having the support of each other is really important too. Like you were saying, I appreciate that too. Because I think to us, and what people often tell us, is that after having completed the whole program, one of the things they appreciate most is having each other. And I think Bonita would probably agree to that. I know she's developed some probably lifelong friends from the people in the course. And they continue to heal together, right? Yeah, and support each other, I'm sure, in all kinds of ways. Okay, so I think that we got the essence of all of that. Any questions about that goal setting ideas? And how to I think a lot of it also has to do with not overwhelming yourself. Like when you get to the focus list, everything feeling realizable, something you can take an action step on. And also, if we're looking at a big list of different things like lifelong goals, what could you do now where you could potentially have the greatest impact most easily? So looking at the things, rather than I'm going to start with the most difficult one or seemingly difficult one or a complicated one, start with simpler things, and again, build a habit of success, like I was suggesting too. Okay, so we're going to move on to the Wheel of Life. And I didn't actually think of putting it up. Maybe I can find it. Let's see. I'm looking at my other monitor here. If you're wondering where I am, where I'm going, where did you go? Oh, here we are, the Wheel of Life. Okay, so I'm going to just share this. Okay, so this is the handout that we have, and it starts with steps in the process. And this second page is a blank wheel. And the reason for having that is that you can create a wheel for anything. You could have a wheel, like I think we're going to do one, the wheel, we have call it the Wheel of Fortune, to explore areas related to prosperity that we created ourselves. And this one, the Wheel of Life, and generally they have about 8 sections to them. But this one is designed so you could actually create your own. It could be if you work with people with stress. It could be, and I don't know what the name would be, but a wheel for managing stress. Like 8 different things that you would want people to hone in on and see where it is that they're having challenges. This one, the second page here is, or third, I guess is the third page technically. This is the Wheel of Life, which is, as I mentioned, very common coaching tool. And what it has is 8 areas, kind of the most, covering the big the big areas of life that you can go through with a person to identify. Say a person comes and they just want life coaching, that you could go through all of these areas and find out where it is that would be the priority. And this is something I look at it differently than some people. I think if you start at the middle and go out, so say if you're looking at family and friends, uh, maybe it's a 2 out of 10, your satisfaction with it, or 4 out of 10, 6 or 8 or 10. So it's like you have that wedge of the pie, and somebody needs to mute yourself. It looks like Maggie, because we're getting background. Let me see if I can. Okay, I'm muted. Okay, so going through them, some areas will be weaker than others. And a lot of times people will figure that you want to start at the weakest one. And what I would do, which is a little bit different, is I would look for one that is obviously not, it has some weakness, but what is the priority? Like say a person has like main areas that are where there are issues might be like romance and intimacy, personal and spiritual growth, and recreation. Of those 3, then you could just ask what is the priority rather than picking the one that is the absolute lowest, because for that person recreation may not be an issue. It's like, okay, I'm not getting a lot of recreation, but that's not really the thing that is most important to me right now. So making a distinction between priorities and weaknesses, I think, is important, because you could spend a lot of time on recreation and maybe maybe it's not going to really change anything really fundamental for them if it's not a priority. So I'm going to stop the share here. Oriel, did you want to say something?
Yeah, my little dyslexia, I guess you could say, in a way, kiddingly, but the 2 to 10, is the weakness being measured at the 2 or at the 10?
Well, the way I would say is, what is your level of fulfillment or satisfaction, whatever word makes the most sense, in the area of your career, for instance. 10 would be totally fulfilled. Everything's as fabulous as it could possibly be. And 0 is nothing. And the same with family and friends.
Okay.
How fulfilling or satisfying are your relationships with family and friends? So the 10 would be the most.
Okay, thank you.
And the way this was designed, for people who are doing things in person with a client, you might just fill in each piece of the pie to show, and it kind of demonstrates physically which areas are weaker and which ones are stronger. Most of us are not working with people in person. Well, maybe you are. I shouldn't say, I guess. We haven't worked with people in person very much in recent times. So that might not be as important, but that's why it's designed that way, like a pie, and then you fill in each piece of the pie. Then there is at the bottom things I would start doing to design my life with more joy, excitement, and purpose, and then things I would stop doing. So that would be a follow-up potentially. What we're going to do today is identify maybe a blockage, and we'll want to look at something simple for a simple demonstration of reframing and anchoring, and do a clearing. So that would be our purpose today. I think Thursday, Philip will be talking about the start to do and stop doing parts of it when he does the lab. So the thought I had was, if everybody wants, you could be filling out each one. I'm going to go through each one individually, and then I'd like to work with one of you as a client. But I think for the rest, you might want to just go through it yourself and see what kind of new insights might emerge from doing that. So would anybody like to volunteer? Anyone maybe who hasn't volunteered or not lately? Cynthia, would you like to volunteer?
Sure, I'll volunteer.
Okay, so say you're a new client and you come and by the way, life coaches often use this with new clients or with a potential client to show them where they could be helping them. And we have several different ways that we actually demonstrate things that you can do with people as a presentation, and then to share what you offer that would help them. So say you're a new client, and this is another thing, is if you don't know a new client, it's really helpful to get a broad overview. And you might use this wheel, you might have your own wheel you design for the kinds of services you provide. And we also have an email kind of a thing. And all of these are on the on your resource page. This is just an example, like an email you might send to someone to, and then have them respond. So they're responding. This is like some topics down at the bottom, and there may be a question or two that where they would answer with a short response. That can really help. Any of these things can really help with new people, because I really like the email one actually for working with people online, because before you even start talking to them, you have a basis of them measuring a number of things on the scale of 1 to 10 to start your conversation, rather than starting from scratch and not having any information about them. So that can be very successful, and you can design that specifically to whatever it is that you're addressing with the clients. Okay, so Cynthia came to me. So is there anything that stands out really, Cynthia, that you would want to be addressing?
Okay, so just so I'm clear, are we on the wheel of life or the balance wheel, or both from the same?
The balance wheel is, it actually, there's nothing there. That
Okay.
we just provided that if you want to create your own, that you could just write in 8
Okay.
things.
Okay.
And so what we're doing is the wheel of life. And you don't have to have anything. You could be a person, say, well, gee, I just want to live my life better, and I don't know where to start. So did you want to approach it that way?
Okay, sure.
Okay. Okay, so looking at the wheel then, do you have a copy of it there? Are you looking at it?
I wrote down all of the different pieces
Categories?
for the wheel. Yes, the categories
Okay.
for the wheel
Okay.
of life. So I
Okay.
have it written down.
Okay. Well, I'll go over them anyhow. So we start with career. So on terms of career, on a scale of 1 to 10, how fulfilled or satisfied do you feel with your career?
4.
4. Okay. And the next one is family and friends.
4.
Okay. The third one, finances and abundance.
4.
Kind of a 4 person. Recreation.
I would say a 4 for recreation.
How about health and self-care?
I say a 7.
Okay, great. Then romance and intimacy.
Oh, we batting real low there. We about a 2.
Okay. personal and spiritual growth.
I say that's about a 7.
Okay. And then your physical environment.
Physical environment, I say a 6.
Okay. So we have a bunch of 4s for career, family, finances, and recreation. Then we have health at a 7, romance at a 2, growth at a 7, and environment at a 6. So the lowest one is romance, and then we have the 4s. So just considering all of those, where would you want to maybe prioritize?
I would say probably finances and abundance and career are the 2. And because I'm in transition right now, that's the reason why they are a 4. And transition comes with a lot of things, a lot of responsibilities, a lot of things that are new. Brain is formatting, new things. And I don't have the relaxation time that I would like, just time to be to sit and just think of nothing. I'm kind of forcing myself to do that, but in the transition period, your body's kind of a little more sensitive than other times. So it's a little harder to relax when I'm relaxing.
So another thing that we also have, I'm trying to find all my papers here. So if we were to pick, just to start to pick one, finances or career, which one would you like to discuss more today?
Let's just do finances and abundance.
Okay. Okay, so we have this other handout. It's called the 10 core challenges. And this is a really valuable handout to go over with people. Some of these may not apply to exactly what's happening with them, and some of them may. And sometimes people can compartmentalize. That's what we call it anyhow. So they might think, well, I want to address finances and look at that in a certain way, not realizing that there are associations in other areas that might be relevant. And one example, I remember one client I had, he wanted to work on his spiritual growth, and he was married, and he and his wife were going to a therapist for their relationship. So he didn't want to talk about his relationship with me because that was over here. The problem is everything is connected. And if you just eliminate something as part of the conversation, it can actually impede progress and even stop it. And I think in his case, I really couldn't make progress with him because he would refuse that. And it was, I think it in that case, actually, it probably would have been wiser for me to suggest that it may not make sense to work with me as long as you're working with a therapist, and to suggest just continuing with that path if that's important for his relationship, rather than trying to combine too many things at the same time. That was what I got from that one. But I think the point is just to bring up areas that might be a factor as possibilities. I think we started with 6 and then we went to 8 and now we have 10. So actually in the appendix, I think to the manual, we have 6, but we passed this copy out, and I think it's very valuable. So I'm just going to go over it with you rather than explaining each one to everybody, because you'll get it on the way. So in relation to your finances and abundance, is time management a factor? Is that an issue for you, time management?
Yes.
Uh-huh. And so at the same time, we're identifying areas that if I'm working with her as a client, then we'll need to explore that. Number 2 is lack of clarity. So it is like not being confused about where to go next with it, just not knowing, not having a strategy, really.
Well, I have the strategy, the skills to get it done quickly, and as in my time frame, are not there yet. So there's a learning curve, and I don't have a concrete structure to keep the momentum going constantly, you know, and it's a lot of stop and go because I'm relying on a class that I'm taking. There's sometimes when I can, get the information, but it's not a one-on-one session. It's me and a lot of other people. So everybody, we're from different walks of life working on different.
I've gotten lost. So we're talking about clarity.
Yeah.
Just so
Yeah, so I'm clear on what it is to do. It's just the skill sets to get it done. I'm not totally clear on that.
I see. So that's the next one is
right.
Is sufficient skills. So so developing skills is a priority. Okay. The next one then is non-supportive environment. And this is one of those things that kind of can be lingering in the background for a person, and they don't really, it's almost like it's like a fish in water, like it's the water you're in, so you don't even notice that that it's something that needs to be addressed. Is there anything, anyone or anything in your environment that would be holding you back?
Not holding me back, but I would say the support that I would desire to be there is not there because I lost my better half some years ago. And family dynamics are not strong like they used to be and supportive. So I'm, on an island by myself.
Right. And of course, here you have that might be also another example where it would be really helpful to connect with some of the people here. Okay, supportive environment. Then there is mental and emotional blockages. Like, do you have any blockages, like feeling you don't deserve, or feeling inadequate, or just anything?
Right now, I
just
know
feeling fearful of your future. I mean, any of those kinds of things.
Well, I think there's a little bit of all of that, but the biggest one is that right now I'm just physically and mentally exhausted.
You mean just in terms of not getting enough rest or having enough time to relax? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, just not having enough time to myself. I have the weekends, but the weekends are, weekend warrior, doing this for personal, doing that, and some time to reboot, but not enough time. And even though I've scaled back some in my business to have more time, just maintaining clientele daily, it's just dealing with their issues is like it's causing setbacks somewhat.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, and then another one is bad inner habits, and this one could be a challenge for people, but it's kind of like um I guess one term that's commonly used, I guess, is stinking thinking. Like if a person has is in the habit of thinking, having a lot of negative thoughts that are um, disturbing them.
I'm dealing with those.
Hmm.
They're triggers. I even notice different areas of my house that I walk through, certain things are triggered.
Hmm. Okay. Um, and then the number 8 is motivation and commitment. And this one is really important for someone, like if they say, well, I want to have this whole new coaching business. Actually, I remember one one time a woman came, and this was actually when we were still teaching our coaching program in person, and she came in to inquire about the coaching course, and it was just the most interesting thing. She didn't want to commit to taking the course because she first wanted to be able to make money at it before
Oh,
she had the training. And then she said, well, if I become successful, I'll take the course. I thought that was interesting. We never heard from her again. I don't know what happened to her. But I think whatever the path is that we're on, we do need to be motivated to take the next step, um, and committed to it. Like someone who says, well, I kind of want to do it, and it's like on a scale of 1 to 10, say, oh, maybe 4 out of 10, they're not going to do it. And I guess a good example that's very easy to understand is, say a person wants to stop smoking, and you ask, well, how committed are you? And they say 4. Well, they won't. They just won't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's true with just about everything. And even wherever all of you are, and being here, uh, wanting to better yourself, to take your next step in whatever way that is, for learning the tools you need, et cetera, and your own growth. If you're not that committed, I mean, a lot of people just aren't that committed, and they're not here, obviously. I mean, you are committed. You have committed to a direction, and you're following through by getting the training that you feel you need. Um, I wanted to emphasize it because if someone, if you ask them, and it's always a good idea to ask them if they want to change something, how committed they are and how motivated they are to make the change, because you have to be committed enough that you're going to stay with it through the difficult times. Not every day's easy. Well, like Terry was saying, that she's going through some challenges. We all have that at times. And then we have to be committed enough to say, well, I'm not going to give up, right? I mean, to me, when we realized that, I guess it was pretty obvious, I felt, because I was an architect, and I got so life hardly seemed to be even worth living anymore. I just didn't think I mattered. Nothing really made sense. So when we got into the healing and I started realizing I really was just loving doing it, then it wasn't a choice. I mean, there is no choice other than moving forward if you're really committed, right? If this is what you're here for, you don't say, well, I'm having a bad day, I think I'll give up. And many people do, which is so interesting, and to me sad, because there's also the truth, and I think Oriel was referring to it, that we don't know when things are going to happen. You can't just start out thinking, well, if it doesn't happen in 3 weeks, then I'm not going to continue. I mean, for me, it's just, that has nothing to do with where I'm going, because I don't know when things are happening anyhow. But motivation and commitment are absolutely critical to to the path that you're on. So how are you with that one, Cynthia?
Very motivated and
Mm-hmm.
definitely committed. I know that I'm on a path definitely in line with my life purpose.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, and once you realize that, like, what other choices are
Yeah, there is no other choice. There's no plan B or C.
right? Yeah. Yeah, and we don't know, of course, we don't know how it's going to happen. We
Right.
never do. And from my experience, things don't usually happen the way I expect anyhow. Even if I did a lot of planning, just doesn't happen. Okay, so we have as in terms of the issues, time management, developing skills, having support, and having some blocks. So people generally have some blocks, and often what we'll do is start with some healing. Is there something that you would like to clear? That because I wanted to demonstrate also the reframing and anchoring today. Well, would there be, you mentioned not enough time and things. Do you experience stress?
Of course. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that would be an easy one to just to reduce the stress, and then maybe some a greater sense of ease will come to the things that you're doing.
Okay, we'll go with the stress.
Okay.
The issue is that I've become a lot more aware of my physical and emotional state. And like I said, where I am now with my business, it's been impactful. And I didn't know to what degree. And now that I know what it is and I experience it, it kind of like sets me back during the day because
Can you start that over again? I kind of got lost.
okay. So I'm exhausted by the customer service that I have to provide daily.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's not how I was ever supposed to do my business.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yes, provide customer service, but in a different way, less hands-on, because I am an empath. So it's been stressing my system.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the exhaustion is coming in too.
Mm-hmm.
On days when I feel like, you know, more energized,
Mm-hmm.
I get these phone calls and I have to deal with them. So I do what, I said I was going to do for them. And it
Mm-hmm.
sets me back in this transition period to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
But even though I am moving forward, to me, it's at a much slower pace than how I used to perform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Well, why don't we just go with stress,
Okay.
if that's okay, because we're we're going to run out of time. And just look at, so going through the wheel, was that helpful for you?
Yes, it was helpful.
Mm. And this is another thing, is that people generally are very unclear about what's happening in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
And doing something like that, and then going through the challenges, the list of challenges, that can be very clarifying for them, because the things will come up that they maybe haven't thought of before.
Right. And I think also going through this, even with a current client, things that they haven't disclosed can start manifesting, coming to the surface to help them deal with
Right.
it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, I didn't go through 9 and 10. 9, and these are ones that I would tend to be cautious with someone who's new, because it's getting into very tender areas, like belief in one's possibilities, which I feel like you have a strong sense of belief, from what I can tell.
Yes.
And belief in oneself, that people might, someone you don't know especially, might have a hard time just being able to talk about those things. So
yeah, well, those are things that keep me motivated, keep me moving forward.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah. And it is true. It can be if someone isn't motivated, just you could help them to find out why they're not motivated too. And it can be things like that, just they don't believe anything is possible, which is also related to depression, like nothing ever works for me. Okay, so we're going to do it with stress, and this is also would be an opportunity for everybody to kind of do it with us. The reframing and anchoring in the Manifesting Your Dreams book, there is an appendix C, and the idea of it is you're taking one energy and substituting another for it. So often we do it, and you anchor in two places. So we often anchor working with people. One of the easiest things is put your left hand on your left leg, put your right hand on your right leg, two places. It doesn't matter where you anchor, although you can anchor, like I have a sore shoulder, you could anchor on the shoulder. But let's just, starting with the basics. You also could anchor. Sometimes I do it on knuckles, one knuckle and another knuckle. But we'll do it with the legs for today. So in terms of stress, what would you say now is, how stressed do you feel?
I'd say about a 4.
Okay. And just out of curiosity, do you feel like you can easily just imagine yourself in the heart of your soul's garden? What we need is, we're talking about, that's the state that we're wanting to not have so much of, and you want more of that state of being in the heart of your soul's garden, just being connected with love and joy. And so is that something that you can easily envision?
Yes.
Okay. So what we want to do, we'll anchor the first state, and then I'll just ask you to envision yourself going there, and we can share a little bit about that, and we'll anchor that. Okay, so you start, and there are basically going to be 3 steps in it. The first one is to focus on your stress, and I would suggest for everybody to do this, whatever the level is. I'm going to even do it to see what happens. Sometimes it's interesting, and with EFT, I don't think I even have anything, and then afterwards I feel so much better. Okay, so focusing on stress, just feeling it in your body, and then putting your left hand on your left leg, just holding it there and continuing to focus on that stress. And what I do is count in my mind. I don't count aloud with a client there. I just count in my mind quietly from 1 to 10, comfortably. And then you release that. So you release that left hand. And now, Cynthia, just imagine going into the heart of your soul's garden. And if you'd like, you could tell me what that's like as you go in there.
It's a prairie. It's like brown, I guess, like wheat color. It's a large field. And I can see 3/4 of it. And beyond the field, there's a forest. There's a lot of tall trees. And then on the other side of that is a city. Kind of cloudy haze over the city.
So how does it feel being in the heart of your soul's garden?
It feels peaceful.
Anything else?
Calm.
Okay. Okay, can you feel the sun shining on you? Is the sun shining?
It's kind of halfway shining.
Okay. So then just focus on, and for everybody to focus on whatever that feels like being in the heart of your soul's garden, and then feeling that energy all through your body and all around you. So for Cynthia, feeling that peace and calm. And then taking another deep breath of it in to intensify it more, putting your right hand on your right leg. And just holding it there. And in my mind, then I count from 1 to 10 again. Then you can release that hand and just let your mind relax for a moment and put both hands on both legs on the same spots again at the same time together. And I'm counting to 10 again, or about that. And then release the left one. So you're letting go of the one that you don't want. And then releasing the right one. And let me know what you notice now, Cynthia.
It brightened up.
Mm-hmm.
An animal showed up, but I don't know what kind it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just taking that it's just trying to get my attention.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sitting on my bench and the sun is bright.
Wonderful.
And I'm just, at peace there.
Mm-hmm. And of course, we talked about what that means with the sun, a bright sun, right?
Yeah.
So that means that you're receiving more light from source.
And the area over the city and the forest has brightened up as well.
Mm-hmm. So what you measured the stress at 4 before, where is it now?
Say a 2.
Mm-hmm. Would you like to do the floor to ceiling eye roll?
Sure.
Do you know that?
Not offhand.
Or, okay, so this is an EFT technique. And what you do is there's this little space between on the back of your hand between the ring finger and the little finger, and you just tap continuously on it with your head facing straight forward and not moving your head at all. Move your eyes down to the floor and gradually move them up, your vision, until it gets as high up as possible around the ceiling. So it might be 6 to 10 seconds, a little bit, something like that. And then stop. And how does that feel now, the stress?
A little less. I say I'm at a
Mhm.
1 now.
Mm-hmm.
Things are
Wonderful.
definitely getting brighter in my soul garden.
Wonderful. Good. Good. So do you receive any insights on uh on how you can reduce your stress in your daily life?
Well, go to my soul garden more and use the
Well,
techniques.
that's a practical thing to do. Actually, to take time, go there and breathe in the fresh air and feel yourself in your environment. Yeah, that's
I'm
very
also
meaningful.
practicing more of just pausing when I'm feeling stressed, just pausing and taking deep breaths throughout the day.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
it's amazing how just a few breaths can change your state.
yeah,
Yeah.
doing that and getting more sleep
Mm-hmm.
and not, being so concerned about the pace. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm a little stubborn, so I'm making myself do these things. But
Mm-hmm.
the old me is still, but the stress comes in. It's like go, 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 do, stay up all night and all that. And now
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the point of no, I'm not doing anything that's going to be harmful to me,
Mm-hmm.
spiritually,
Right.
physically, or emotionally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And taking those pauses is good. I think I showed you last time I have this little 3-minute timer. And usually what I try to do is in between, like if I'm doing one thing and then I'm going to start another one, I'll just set the timer and I'll take 3 minutes, just like you were saying, breathe, just
And
connecting with life,
yes.
being in your body in the moment.
I actually got a timer and it arrived today, but I
Oh,
got
really?
10 minutes. Yes.
10 minutes. Well, whatever works. But I just love I think I mentioned, I love the color. So, okay. So that is the reframing and anchoring. And we will be doing that a lot along with it's another thing you can do like EFT. One of the positive things about it, I think, is that it creates that soul connection. So there's more of that deep sense of what's happening in you that's inherent in the process. Anyone, any questions about that, about how to do that?
I don't know if I missed it in the dialogue between you. How did you anchor that? What was the phrase you used?
For what? For the soul's garden?
For reframing? What was true?
Right. So there was the stress, which is on the left leg, and then it is the soul's presence really is what you're wanting to anchor, is that love. And she mentioned peace and calm that she feels. So what I did is I asked her ahead. Usually I'll talk to people ahead of time about how to get to that, that soulful place. And in this class, we're using the soul's garden, which is really wonderful to be able to connect that in different ways. And you never know what's going to happen there in relation to each time something new could emerge. So then when she got there and she had her state, then I just asked her to breathe in more of that peace and calm and then anchor that with her right hand on her right leg.
Okay.
And then when you put both of them on together, what you're doing is activating both, and then you're releasing the one you don't want, the stress. So that's called collapsing an anchor. So it collapses that stress into that soul's garden state, into that heart, more open-hearted state. And that's how it heals. So it's very, very simple, and it can be extremely effective. It is, like I said, it's very much like EFT. You measure, quantify everything ahead of time, identify emotions, etc., and then quantify, and then do the anchoring. And like I said, you can use 2 points, any 2 points on your body that you want, but doing it on your knuckles also is another one that I do. So the one over this finger and the middle finger, you can use one and then the other. It's just a little more subtle.
Thank you.
So any other questions or comments about reframing and anchoring?
And
Anyone?
Jane, you stated that the instructions for that is all in the reading in the reference material.
It's in Manifesting Your Dreams, Appendix C.
Okay.
Yeah. And that has also one of the appendixes is how to do. There's one for using a pendulum. That's Appendix D. And then there's using kinesiology and using EFT. So there are 4 of them there. Just simple. And we will be doing that more also. So for anybody who hasn't fully gotten it, we'll continue to use it. And it's pretty simple. Okay, so that. Oh, yes, Oriel.
Oh, yeah. Are you going to be writing up a handout for the Soul's Garden?
Yeah, I'm going to be going away next week, and I'm going to be writing about that. That's what I'm going to be doing.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and about planting seeds and kind of all of the metaphorical significance of it and the way to view all of it in terms of what your role is in relation to all of those things that are occurring in that garden.
Sounds like a productive retreat.
Well, I'm a writer, I need a project too. And I've been wanting to do this. We in our other our other program, we did in the fall, we did one on magic, and a lot of it had to do, we talked a lot about planting seeds and nurturing the garden and all of those things, and just metaphorically what all of that represents and how you can be doing that. And then, of course, in the end, you want to be, there are going to be manifestations that come from it. So, okay, bye, Maggie. We're all going to be going anyhow, I think, here in a minute. So, anyone want to share something you particularly enjoyed today? Just to end on a high note. Anything?
Well, when you were talking about, and you told the story about the lady with fibromyalgia, and when she recognized why she had that, it kind of went away. So it just made me consider, I've been having issues with my health, my blood sugar dropping significantly, very quickly, causing me to pass out, having issues.
Oh, wow.
I actually Googled, what could that mean spiritually? And the answers were very enlightening. It exactly kind of what I needed to hear, I think, in my life where I need to make some changes. So that was it was incredibly significant to me. And just, I don't know that I would have gotten to that, maybe eventually I would have thought to look it up. But if I hadn't had that moment with you guys, I probably wouldn't have thought that for a very long time. So that was really
wonderful.
helpful.
Good. Great. Thank you. Anyone else?
Well, I have a question. Will we be doing like more specific work on the emotions tied to the various diseases that cause those particular emotions? I've had some training prior with some of that, but I don't know where all of my notes are. So it's kind of like a refresher on those.
Yeah, we have a list that we provide at some point.
Oh, wonderful.
Of associations. And then I think it also is important just to explore what's happening to yourself or to someone else individually, because it's just like anything else, they're generalizations. And what you want to do is help people to get into their bodies and talk talk to themselves about it, so that you can actually understand it firsthand.
Right.
But I think the list, it is very interesting because all of the organs relate to different emotions, and reaching out with our arms and moving forward with our legs, and all of it is relevant. Everything is relevant.
And a lot of them I have committed to memory. And so even, with dealing with my clients, and that's part of where some of the exhaustion comes from. I wear a lot of hats with them. It's way beyond what I get paid to do with them. And, it's a lot of counseling and stuff,
Right. Yeah.
and they even refer to me, as these various different titles that, I'm not titled under or licensed
Right.
under, but they
Yeah.
expect these things of me, and I don't mind giving them. However, but in those conversations,
Maybe we should move this to after hours, because we were just having like final something positive you got from the class, and because I don't want to hold everybody up if they're just okay. So have a wonderful week, and remember, next week is off. Good time for goal setting and also connecting with each other. I can see for many of you how valuable that can be. Philip is also willing to help people to find someone. If you're looking for partners, he might have some ideas and help to match people. So, okay. So have a great week.
Okay, thank you. Have a wonderful retreat.
Thank you.
Okay. Good night, everybody.
Okay. Well, I would like to pair up, and however Philip can assist with that. I did notice that in a